right, all right, all right. I'm not sure if this is coming through just yet, but we're going to quickly jump over to YouTube and see if it's coming through. Let's click on the link. And okay, I think we're coming through. All right, let me change this. Sorry, I I somewhat had this ready and somewhat did not. So, needless to say, hey everybody, welcome back to Misfit Corner Comics. This is the Arts Knows Andrew speaking, and we are live streaming. For the moment, I'm going to just call this the all-new Hero Hour. I used to do a live stream Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays called the Hero Hour, where I had the guys on and we did art and talked about comics and all sorts of stuff. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. Actually, tonight I'm going to draw. So I'm going to just do a little recap about me and my characters and what I'm doing here. And for some of the people who have been fans of my channel or have followed me for a while now, this is all going to be old news, but hopefully I can bring something fresh and new to it. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so as you can see, I've got this camera facing me, and then I have a separate scene set up in OBS, which looks like this. I'm going to see how it flips over on the YouTubes and make sure it looks good. So I'm still waiting for YouTube to catch up. All right. Let's put this down over here. All right, and it works good. Okay, excellent. Excellent, excellent. All right, I'm going to jump back to me real quick and talk a little bit. So, everybody out there, my name is Andrew. Misfit Corner Comics is my YouTube channel. It is also the name of my store. I have a store here in Jacksonville, Florida called Misfit Corner Comics. It's a very small comic book store located at the Beach Boulevard Flea Market here in Jacksonville, Florida. And Misfit Corner Comics is also the name of my publishing company. And we have two, well, technically one title, but we're working on a second one, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about that. We've got some chats going on, so let me pull up the chat real quick and see who's here. Hey, Manuel, how's it going? Welcome to the show, my friend. Manuel has been following me for a long, long time, especially over on my Scam channel. If you're not familiar with it, I have another channel called Misfit Corner Scams. People, when I say that, they look at me like, what? What is it called? And I say, I get scam calls all day long, every day, and I record them. I screw with the scammers, mess with them, waste their time, and I make videos of them. And that's what that other channel's for. This channel is for everything else. Richard's here. Hey, Richard, how's it going, my friend? Hope everything's good. He says, good evening, Drew. Good to see you at it again. Absolutely, absolutely. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and it's really funny. Completing a project and working on a project such as a graphic novel or a comic requires many, many things. And what's so funny is you have to literally have all those things in front of you in order to get these things done. And some of them are within your control, and some of them are not within your control. Some of the things that you have materials. You have to have paper, pens, pencils. You have to have all that. But the things that may not be in your control is you have to have time. You have to have time to sit down and work on these projects. You have to have desire. You have to want to work on these projects. Now, I've had the desire probably since day one. But the other thing you have to have is ability. You have to have the ability to be able to take what's in your mind and put it down on paper. It's not as easy as it sounds. And all those things come together. Materials, time, ability, and desire. Well, I got to kick my time and ability and desire in the butt and get to doing this on a regular basis. So right now, I'm reserving Wednesday night specifically for drawing. Now, granted, you're probably going to guess that's not enough. You need more time. Absolutely, 100%. And I considered doing live streams throughout the day whenever I had an opportunity to sit down and draw. And my new setup is working well for that. But I don't know. I don't know if if the time commitment's able to be that loose and free with it. But what I'm setting is this specific time on this specific day is now my let's sit down, do a stream, and get some drawing done and just talk to people. Now here's the bad part. In order for this setup to work properly, where I can share my drawing table with you as well as myself, I have to use a program called OBS. And OBS doesn't allow for people to join. So I can't invite Avery, I can't invite Todd, I can't do any of that stuff. So it's going to be just me for this show. Now we may do another show on another day in the future, but right now, all you got's me. And I should be enough, right? All right, excellent. Manuel says, I'm doing good on a Wednesday night. Fantastic. Manuel says, welcome back, my friend Drew. Thank you. Rick! Cross Comics is in the house. Welcome back, Rick. Good to see you. He says, hello, all. Richard says, you also have a real job, Drew. Well, somewhat. My real job right now is my store, my YouTube channel, and my books, my comics. And I've always kind of pushed one of those to the side while I focused on the others. Well, that's changing because a lot of stuff needs to get done, a lot of stuff needs to happen. Cross says you could bring it in through Discord. I've never used Discord, really. So Richard says to Cross, is that Rick? How are you doing? Rick is for those out there who don't know, Cross Comics is our good buddy Rick up in Canada. He's our Canadian brother. And he says, I'm doing good. And Manuel says, hey to Cross, welcome back. Well, fantastic. All right. In the meantime, we're going to switch over to this other view, which is this one. Okay. I built a brand new drawing board for my desk directly under my camera, which you may or may not be able to, in the little picture of me up there in the corner, you might be able to see the camera above my head. I am hoping I don't stick my hat under the camera too much and block the view, and I hope I don't actually hit it a couple times, but I'm going to work on that. So, all right, so here, this is what we're going to start with. Just a introduction for anybody out there who doesn't know. My son and I started a comic book series, a graphic novel series several years ago. I don't remember the exact dates. I'd have to look it up. Called Hero. The character and the idea for the story was inspired by my children, who helped me create the idea of the characters. And that has gone on to be, so far I've published 2 books. They're not currently in print and available, but we're working on making them available again. The second one that we're working on, actually, I have Cross to thank for it. He's the one who helped inspire the character of Crom, who's another character that we're working on. And the funny thing is that Hero's universe is very much sword and sorcery, and Crom's universe is more like a dystopian future. They are both in the same universe, just separated by time. We figure it's probably about 1,000-year difference between Hero's story and Crom's story. Crom's world is very much like Mad Max meets Conan, where Hero's story is more Lord of the Rings sorcerer stuff. So, but they're in the same universe, but separated by thousands of years, Crom being much further into the future. So for poops and giggles, I'm going to do a drawing tonight, and we're going to draw some of our main characters. We're going to start with my all-time favorite, and that would be Hero. Hero, he is what we call a Tilmaroon. When I first designed the character, I was showing the image of him to my friend Avery, who was telling me he looks like a kangaroo, but with bigger feet. and we kind of thought that was funny. Originally, he was supposed to be a raccoon, but because of the big feet, he kind of looked more like a kangaroo. So we decided to make him our own creation, and we called him a Tilmaroon because the valley that he lived in was the Tilmar Valley, where his family comes from, and so that's where the name Tilmaroon comes from. It's a combination of the place they live and raccoon. Um, Hero is a. I've had people refer to him, say that he looks like a fox, and he kind of does, um, but he's a little bit different than a fox. Um, exactly, the inspiration for him. What's really funny is the very first drawing of Hero was inspired. I was taking a nap one day. My kids get tired of hearing this story, but I was laying down, I was taking a nap, and I had the idea of an image of a hero um, who was being surrounded by a giant snake. And the snake was in silhouette behind him, and that actually led to an image of the very first image of Hero. And he I woke up from my nap, and I had to sketch out this image of this character, and that became the very first drawing I ever did of Hero. And I actually have it. It's up here on my wall over here. And Hero Book 1 was actually the story that we designed around the character was in order to get Hero to that actual point in the story. We created a story in which Hero and his best friend Pudge go on an adventure, and on this adventure they come across this giant snake who wants to eat them, and Hero saves the day, and yeah, that's kind of how the idea of Hero came about. And the entire story was a creation after just one image. And he has his big furry tail, which his tail has 3 dark sections in it. And it's been a while since I've drawn him, so sometimes I have to remember what he looks like. I mean, I've drawn him so many times, it's pitiful, but sometimes you never forget how to draw your own character, but sometimes if you haven't drawn him for a while. And of course, I drew him so close you can't actually see his feet. But all right, so that's Hero. I'm not sure how well you can see him, but what I'm going to do, just for poops and giggles, I'm going to use a Sharpie, and I'm going to just outline him real quick, because I know you can't see him very well with the camera. So I'm just going to, I did the test I did yesterday when I ended up doing the drawing in Sharpie. You could see him much clearer. So what I'm going to do is just do a quick outline of him in Sharpie, so that he's a little bit more clear to see. And I'm not trying to make a very detailed image, I'm not trying to add a lot of detail, just trying to give you an idea of what he looks like. And his nose is black, his eyes are black, and his eyebrows are black. And Sharpie, of course, is extremely difficult to draw with, because it's not very precise, and it's usually very thick and cumbersome. But for the stream, it makes it easier to see him. So you guys will let me know if you're having any difficulty seeing what I'm drawing. shouldn't have any problems here. He wears a belt, and he has pants. All right, make sure I'm not over. Not right. So Avery did kind of help me a little bit about with naming him, in the fact that when I first drew him, he was like, he looks like a kangaroo with big feet. So that's when we decided. That's when we decided that he was not a raccoon. He was his own thing, and that's the best part about creating your own characters is they are whatever you want them to be. And in this case, we called him a teal maroon. And of course, I'm not using a straight right here, so that's all right. And I'm going to just fill this in real quick. This doesn't have to be perfect. I'm mainly doing this in Sharpie so you guys can actually see it better. So, as long as you guys can see what I'm drawing, we're good. All right, so that's my buddy. That's my hero, okay? Now, his best buddy is the next character I'm going to draw, and that's Pudge. And let's see, we can put Pudge right over here. Pudge is a bird who, the funny part is, I originally asked Avery to do a color version of Hero Book 1. And he did. He did it. He did an absolutely fantastic job on it. But honestly, it's probably not going to be done in full color anytime soon, simply because of the cost of doing full color. It's just too expensive to publish it in full color. The original issue, Volume 1, was actually over 150 pages. And, yeah, doing that in full color would be just too much. And, well, this doesn't really show you a lot of Pudge, but he's in here. He's in here. I'm just going to do quick little... I haven't drawn Pudge in a long time either, so... You know what's so funny is Pudge, both Pudge and Hero have changed a lot since I first drew them. Not only just because my style changed a little bit with them, but they also aged a little bit in the story. So they did change a little bit. Another character that I want to draw this evening is somebody who I'm going to be focusing on soon, and that is, I'm going to switch over here. That is the character Hawkeye, who's introduced in issue 1, or book 1 of Hero. I realized, I'm going to show you a picture of him. This is him right here. And, whoops, let me see if I can, there we go. Maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger. Nope, don't do that. There we go, okay. Well, let me move over here a little bit. So this is the one of the very first images of Hawkeye that I ever drew. It ended up, this was just me doing a pinup of him. He was a ferret archer who we decided this would end up becoming a story page for book 1. This is page 50 something of book 1 with Avery's colors on it and the grayscale that he did. It looks really cool. But this is just give you an idea what the character looks like. He is going to be the focus of one of my next stories that I'm going to be drawing, simply because in Hero Book 1, he is introduced, and he has a scene in which he does something kind of heroic, And at the end of the scene, you see him rushing off, running away into the forest, uh, getting away from some wolves, but you don't see him again in the story. And he comes back in book 4, but only in a flashback story, kind of telling you a little bit about how he met or how he's been friends with Hero's dad for a very, very long time. And so you never know what happened to him after he runs away in the forest. And I came up with an idea for a story in which it kind of gives you a not so much an ending to what happened to him, but what happened to him next. And that story is going to be kind of fun. I already pitched the idea to Mike, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to draw, and then we figured out a way to connect it back to book 1. So what we're planning on doing is we're going to draw a Hawkeye story in which Hawkeye, you see what happens next in Hawkeye's story after he's running away from the wolves, and leads on to yet another of his adventures. Now, whether or not I'll get around to that, drawing that adventure, I don't know. But the fact is that we're giving you just a little bit more than just what we provided initially. So he's going to be the focus of a story that I work on shortly, and that should be a lot of fun. So, gonna just draw him a little bit here. He's a cute character. I think he's a good character in the fact that if Hero wasn't my main character from the Hero universe, Hawkeye could easily become a main character. He's one of those ones I like to draw, especially because he's how's the best way to describe him? He's very lanky, and I like that about him. And there's something about his look that's kind of funny. Now he's got this little hood he wears, very very Robin Hood-esque hood, and he's got some shoulder pads. Yeah, I didn't space this out very well, so I'm not going to be able to fit his whole character in here, but just for poops and giggles, we're just going to draw him in here. And the reason why I said I'm bringing him up is because I've got a story for him that I want to tell, and so I'm going to be drawing him again very, very soon, and it should be fun. It should be a lot of fun. And yep, so let's give you just an idea of what he looks like. And then he, of course, has a belt as well. We're just going to loosely place where the belt's at. And he's, I hate to say it, he's Donald Ducking it. He doesn't wear pants. And he has a long tail as well. I'm running out of room here for him, so which is okay. Yeah, I didn't really plan this one out very well. Don't have a lot of room to put anything else in here, but this is him. The face is the best part. The face part, he's very cute, his character. And what's really funny is when he's first introduced in Hero Book 1, he's this tall tale telling archer. He's well known for his tall tales that he tells. Some of them are really crazy and insane, and you have to take every one of them with a grain of salt. He's not always a reliable storyteller, even though he tells great stories. They're often based in truth, but not everything he says is true. And what's one of the funny things about him that we developed later on in the story was his relationship to Hero's dad. He's known Hero's dad for a long, long time, and we reveal that he wasn't always the sure-footed archer that he's portrayed in the stories. Um, Actually, at one point, he jokes about the fact he probably couldn't hit a barn with his. I'm sticking my hat in the way, aren't I? Sorry about that. I'm leaning over too much, so that's why that's happening. But well, all right. So we'll get it. We'll get it to work right. I will try to do better next time. I promise. All right. All right. So just give you an idea what he looks like. All right. The next character, of course, is Crom, and I'm going to show you an image of him. This is actually an image that I drew of him and Princess, who is his traveling companion. He originally was a jaguar from Brazil, but he's since changed. He's now more of a white tiger. So his instead of having the jaguar spots that you see in this image, I later was more comfortable drawing tiger stripes than doing the spots. So he changed to a tiger, and his companion Princess is a mouse. And it's an obvious contradiction. But her story, in my mind, is really fascinating. I've started to develop her as a character. She's a much stronger character than people are going to think when you first meet her. She's more, like you could tell from this image, she's more of the spoiled little teenager compared to Crom. Crom's a warrior, and she's like his teenage sidekick. But they've known each other since she was a baby, and the story behind them is an interesting one that I'm hoping to be able to flesh out and tell. But the two of them, are kind of on the story that we're developing is kind of a what's the best way to describe it without spoiling it? They have a mission. They have a goal. They have a reason for why they're wandering around the earth, around the world, and going to different places and tackling issues and solving problems and creating trouble and making a fun time of it. But this image right here was one I did. It was an idea for a story that had to do with an armadillo that was rolling towards the two of them, and Crom's trying to tell Princess, get out of the way, let me handle this, and she's just being obstinate and just being a pain in the ass teenage child. And he, of course, is yelling at her like, and as this huge armadillo with these huge claws is like lunging and rolling right towards Crom. Whether that story actually ever gets told, I don't know. We'll see, but that's the inspiration for this image. So I'm going to draw Crom real quick, add him to the back of this, and of course, there I am sticking my head in the way. Now, Crom is much bigger than everybody else in this story. Um, Mike and I were talking about how Hero, um, his anatomy is very much of an animal. He's got the double jointed legs where it's like your thigh, your knee, your the bottom half of his leg, and then his feet are very very long, which is kind of like an animal. Well, when we get into Crom's world, Crom, I've drawn him multiple ways. Where some ways he has straight legs, like more like a human, and then others where he has the animal legs. And I think I can explain why he would have the animal leg or the human type legs is because 1,000 years of evolution. The animals started walking upright, You know, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. But he is very much he's different, but I also like drawing him a certain way. So we'll see how that goes. And I've only ever drawn, I think I've only ever drawn one image with Hero and Crom together. Actually, I think it was a giveaway that I did for my store, for one of the anniversaries of my store. And I'm trying to remember if I know who has the image. But there is an image out there of Hero and Crom, and it is literally the very first drawing I've ever done of the two of them together. And they would, story-wise, they would never meet. Because like I said before, Hero's story is like 1,000 years before Crom's story. So Crom and Hero would never meet. But there are some story elements that we were developing in which they would cross over. Where, for example, eventually during one of the stories, Hero is gifted a sword, and one of the ideas is that one of the swords that Crom carries is the sword that Hero use. See, so big, can't fit him on here. All right. So, technically, this is only the second time Hero and Crom have been drawn together on the same image. So it's kind of, there's a little bit of history being made here. All right. I forgot. I got to check the the chat. Oh, sorry. Hey, Glenn's here. Hey, Glenn says your artwork reminds me of Dan Thompson. I have one of his signed prints I got from him at a Colorado Renaissance Festival many years ago. Okay, very cool. Very cool. All right. Welcome, Glenn. How's the scam baiting going today? You having a good day? I only had one really good call. It was an Amazon scammer, which I hadn't gotten in a while, so it was a lot of fun to get one of those. Yep. See the tiger stripes are a lot easier to draw than all those damn jaguar spots. He will always be, he'll always have a place in my heart as a jaguar, but for the purpose of getting things done, he became a a snow tiger. There we go. All right. All right. So there we go. There's some of my main characters. You've got Hero, Pudge, Hawkeye, and of course, Crom. Excellent. And of course, I will sign this. Andrew, 2025. Okay, now, as a special little bonus thing, I am going to. Whoops, let me get rid of that image. I am going to give away this piece of art to one of the people who were in the chat. And to be quite honest with you, the one person I know deserves it more than anybody, simply because he's a great guy and has been around since the very beginning, and I love him. He's fantastic. That would be my friend Manuel. Manuel, I'm going to reach out to you later. Send me an address that I can send it to you, and I'm going to send you this drawing. This is a gift from me to you. Now, Glenn, Cross, you guys, you know I appreciate you thoroughly, and I'll take care of you as well in the future. Promise. But in the meantime, and Rick, I almost forgot about Rick. Richard. There's two Ricks in here. There's Cross and then there's Richard. But Manuel, I'd like you to have this drawing. And I actually have another one that I'm putting together I was going to do as a bonus gift. So I'm going to be sending that out once I reach out to you and get your address and so forth. But a little thank you for joining me. And I hope you guys had a good time. I know this wasn't actually an hour. We're only at 40 minutes in, but I've run out of space on my drawing board. You know what I could do is I might be able to do, well, all right, let me show you something. Real quick. So I get comics traded into me all the time. And one of the things at my store that I like to do is I like to, whenever I get comics, I like to put them in new bags and boards, fresh bags and boards. Well, recently I had a bunch of stuff that came in that were using these old non-coated boards. And what that means is it's rough on both sides of the board. Those aren't really recommended for, it's not recommended for comics, for long-term comics. But you know what these things are actually really good for? Is doing sketches on. So we may do some more sketches on these and include them as giveaways in the future. So, all right, Cross is yelling at me to check the the chat. So let me go back to the chat real quick and see what's going on here. Let's see. I'm gonna go just scroll through real quick. Here's another thing with OBS. I can't. Well, actually, hold on a second. Am I able to show the... I think the OBS Studio allows you to see the chats. I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, apparently I've lost it. So, let's see. Studio mode. That's not what I'm looking for. Settings. Output audio, hooks advanced. Okay. I got to play around with it some more because right now the way it is, I can see the chat on a separate screen, but I can't display it like I can with StreamYard. So that's one of the advantages of using StreamYards over OBS. So I can read the chat, but you're not going to be able to see what I'm reading. Cross says, "Yay, hero." Richard says, "Gotta go, Drew. Old man disease. Manuel and Rick, take care and have a better day. God bless you all." Absolutely, my friend. Cross says, "We need a hero, and that hero will be the Canadian Shield." Oh, goodness gracious. Way to plug your own thing, Rick. Good job. Can see him pretty good in pencils here. Okay. Manuel says, "I see really good, my friend Drew. Thanks." All right. Excellent. Cross says, "Pudge is a little bird that tells hero things." He does. Glenn says, "Betty checking in." Fantastic. Cross says, "Did you make a book 1 and book 2 each a PDF and sell online?" I did initially. I did a crowdfunding campaign for both Hero Book 1 and Book 2, and one of the offers was a PDF version of the book, and I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of PDF version. I'm not a big fan of reading it online. Hero and any book that I want to do, I want you to be able to hold in your hands. I want you to be able to share it with people and read it to people, not just, see it on your computer. So We'll see. Let's see. Cross says, is Andrew still doing the scam stuff? All the time, all the time. Glenn said, yes, he is. Live streaming at 8 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday night. That's right. Cross says, okay. Okay. Cross says, Andrew, need someone on him to read the chat. Yeah, that is true. But the only problem is with OBS, I can't invite somebody on. It's just me by myself. So I'm gonna have to work on a way to make that work. I'm gonna have to find a way to make that happen. Glenn says, your artwork reminds me. Oh, I already read that one. Manuel says, hey, my friend Glenn, happy Wednesday. Glenn says, claps. Cross says, what, no time travel in their universe? No, no time traveling. Cross says, check the chat. Manuel says, great, awesome, my friend Drew, thank you. Great drawing. Cross says, Manuel, you might be better to do an email with that info. Yes, please. Yeah, don't put it in the chat. And Cross says, I wasn't asking if you did. I was saying you do the PDF. I wasn't asking if you did. I was asking you do the PDF. It's really not something I want to do, to be honest with you, Rick. I mean, I know some people prefer it, but that number I think is much smaller than the people that would rather have a physical copy in their hand. You know? So, but we'll see. You never know. It's all what's that old saying? It's what the people want is what you give them. You give them what they want. So if I get a lot of people asking for PDFs, it may just have to happen. But I'm not a fan of it, you know. That's like I don't like watching movies on my phone. I want to see it on a big screen TV or in the theater. I'm not a big fan of watching movies on my phone. But there's a lot of people out there who do, you know. I mean, each their own, you know. All right, Cross says, I wasn't to get together. I can help a little with OBS. If you want to get together, okay, we'll talk about that. Like I said, this is what's going to become my new Wednesday night thing. So I'll reach out to you and we can chat. Maybe we'll get together one night and just you can fill me in. I haven't used OBS in years. The only reason why I downloaded it and decided to do this is because I had a problem with my computer running out of memory space. And in one little click, Todd helped me fix that problem. So I had plenty of room to download the most current up-to-date OBS application and actually use the dang thing. So that's what I'm doing. All right, well, guys, I appreciate you all coming in here. I know we didn't go the full hour, but I'm working towards it. Next week, and probably maybe a few other times this week, there are some very specific projects I need to work on and some stuff I need to get done. So I will make videos and share with you guys, and hopefully you guys will get a kick out of it. But it's do or die. Got to be done. It's time to get this stuff done. There are goals we have, and the only way to reach them is to actually do them. A lot of y'all understand exactly what I'm saying, but I appreciate everybody out there, and you all have a great evening, and I'll talk to you all soon. You guys are great, and be safe,